Recording.
There we go.
So I want to ask you if you had seen any TV shows or movies recently.
God, the most recent movie I've seen was actually the Renfield movie, which was a lot of fun.
Oh my
The
God,
one with Nicholas
yes. Nicolas
right?
Cage, Nicolas Holt,
Yeah,
Aquafina,
Nicole and
Ben
Aquafina's.
Schwartz. Like I had never seen Ben Schwartz in
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
physically.
I think
I only
the
heard his
one
voice.
the one negative thing I'd heard about it that I thought was valid was they tried to put too much into the story for
Oh
90 minutes.
yeah,
I said, yeah, that's
exactly.
valid, but it was just fun to watch. I mean, I went into it with look, it's a popcorn movie. I put
Mhm.
my brain in neutral and just enjoy the ride, and that's it. And it delivered on that fine for me. So
Exactly.
like I say, I am looking forward to the new Wes Anderson movie. I'm looking forward to the Oppenheimer. I still want to
Yes.
see. I don't know if you've heard of Dollyland. I
No, I
really
haven't.
want to see that. It's Ben Kingsley plays Salvador Dali.
Oh, yeah, I have. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm also really looking forward for that one because I'm not
yeah.
curious. I'm a very
I'm hoping
curious
it's
person.
yeah. But well, I'm a big Salvador Dali fan, and I'm a big Ben Kingsley fan. So what's not to love there? But yeah, I have to confess, what we've been doing lately, my wife and I, is we've really gotten into Taylor Sheridan's TV stuff.
Ooh,
Now this,
Yellowstone.
yeah, Yellowstone, 1883. All
Tulsa
those.
King. Tulsa King
Yeah,
as well.
Tulsa King, which is an absolute scream. Uh,
It's so good. It's so
but
good.
I
Oh,
fell
it
in love.
was so good.
Yeah, I'm hoping they do a follow-up season because I
Me
think
too.
it did leave
But
a gap.
I think they've already announced it back in April, I believe.
Oh, okay, okay,
I said it in my news section on the podcast that
okay.
it will have a second season, and I'm so happy
I hope
about
so.
it.
Yeah, because
It
that
was
was a lot
so
more.
good.
We also enjoyed. I don't know if you heard of what's it called? Jeez, I forgot the name of it. Um,
Maybe you can describe it.
Poker Face.
Oh my God, yes, my
Yeah,
favorite series of 2023. It's
that
so
was a lot.
good.
Yeah, and here again, they left it off with a very good lead into a
Yeah, Natasha Leon.
season two. I thought, where the one guy gets killed off, but then the other gang comes in, and now she's got
So
somebody else going after.
yeah, like which episode or episodes were your favorite?
Oh, a Poker Face.
Hmm.
Jeez, that's a good one. I love the ones where and I forgot the actor's name now, but any of the ones where the actor who played the FBI agent came in.
Oh,
And he was from
um,
he was the
was
actor who
it?
played well, he played in the one about the two old ladies. I think that's where they first brought him in, where
Hold
the
on,
two
let
old
me.
women at the retirement home killed off their ex-lover. Uh,
Oh, I know which. What's the actor's name? Was it Lil Ray Hovery?
yeah,
Is he black?
I can't remember his name, but
Is the actor black?
he was from the Big Bang Theory. He played the
Oh, okay.
one of the
Um,
characters on Big Bang. Uh, I love that episode. I just love the narrative structure of the thing because
mm-hmm.
it didn't
Me
take long to
too.
figure out, okay, you're coming in actually about 20 minutes after it begins. So you
Yeah.
just got to figure, okay, where is she in relation to what's going on here? Uh, so that was always kind of the fun of it is, okay, how is she going to end up in this story? The one that had Joseph Gordon-Levitt in it, I thought was great. That was
Yeah.
also a really good one.
Or this special effects episode.
Oh yeah, that was fun too. Yeah, but yeah, the one with Nick. I think that was Nick Nolte was in that one, wasn't it? Yeah, that was Nick Nolte. And who else?
It was so
There's a
good.
couple of really good.
I think
Well, it's funny.
Louis Guzman was also there in
Hmm?
that one. Louis Guzman.
That's right. Yeah, he was the guy, the
He was
student.
the
That's right.
delivery person.
Yeah, yeah. Um, that, and you know what that show reminded me of? It was like a
Columbo.
little bit of Columbo, but also a little bit of Monk.
Yes, that would have been my second like
Yeah,
suggestion. I was like, wait, I wanted to say it like I was like Mark, and then you said it.
yeah, and obviously Columbo, because instead of the what was
Yeah,
it? Columbo would always say just one more thing, but she would always go, "Yeah, there's something I don't get," or whatever the phrase was.
or that's bullshit.
Well, yeah, that's bullshit. But but the Monk part to me was the guest stars. They
Mm,
got some really good people to come in and be the
mm-hmm,
bad guys and all those.
mm-hmm.
And if you ever saw Monk, I was convinced
I
that,
did, but I was I think young, but I
oh,
still
okay,
love Monk. I like it.
but I'm
It's
convinced
cool.
that a lot of those bad guys in Monk were,
Mm-hmm.
these were big names. They were probably calling him and saying, "Hey, just get me on the show. You can pay me scale. I don't care. I just want to get on there and be with you." Because Tony Shalhoub, I think, is one of the great comic actors of his generation. Certainly, I mean, I just Monk. I loved him in. He's been in movies I loved. He plays the father in Mrs. Maisel. Uh, I mean, the guy is a comic genius. I don't know if you've ever seen Quick Change, which was one of Bill Murray's early films. Uh, but Tony Shalhoub plays this cab driver in that movie, and he's only in the movie for about 3 minutes, maybe all told. I mean, he shows up twice, but it's for no more than 3 or 4 minutes. But he speaks this language that nobody can understand, and you would think, you know. And I'm thinking, well, in New York City, there's got to be at least one other person around who speaks this language, but
Yeah,
nobody can
yeah.
figure out what he's saying. And I think,
Oh, he's in Flaming Hot as well.
oh yeah, I mean, he just does a lot of really. What was the? He was in
He
Barton
did
Fink.
yeah, he did The Company You Keep, The Marvelous
Mhm.
Mrs. Maisel,
Yeah.
Central
Oh
Park.
yeah.
Oh, I love that. Oh, Cars.
Oh,
Rumble.
that's right. Yeah, yeah. He plays Luigi in Cars. That's right. Yeah, he's.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's funny to me in the Pixar movies,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I think this is one of the reasons the new ones are not doing as well. They
Mm.
didn't have what's his name, John Rathsborn, who had played. He was the guy who played in Cheers as the mailman, and he showed up in every Pixar movie up until recently. And I don't know if he's passed away. Maybe I don't know. I hadn't heard anything, but he was always in those movies. And I said, yeah, you always waited to see, kind of like waiting to see where is Stan Lee going to show up in the Marvel movies, right?
Yeah.
What part is this guy going to play in this? Uh, so
No, he's still alive.
yeah, yeah, I think so. But but yeah, I loved Monk. In fact, my wife was so depressed when it went off the air. She was like, "Oh, it's not fair." I said, "Look,
Ah,
they did 8 seasons. It was a good run. They're getting out on top. It's a smart move."
well,
I
in in Germany and Austria, they like played after like 8:30 p.m. Every single
oh yeah,
Monday.
it's still reshown. Well,
It's so
I brought all
it's
the
so cool. Like it's so
yeah.
it has this like charm, but you know, even even when he like solves these crimes, it's still very charming and very like clever, and
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know, it's a lot of fun.
but
Like maybe that's why I
but
liked Poker Face.
the whole angle of a detective with OCD, I thought was such a great premise. It's like,
Yeah,
man, you can
and
get.
there's also this series called Will Trend. It's basically the same
Oh
thing,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
the detective
I haven't
is
seen Will Trent yet. I
dyslexic.
do want to see that.
I have, but only uh a couple episodes. I'm not
Yeah,
done with the first season, but it will have a second season. I'm so
yeah,
excited.
yeah. But anyhow,
So,
but anyway, but yeah, Taylor Sheridan has become. We're talking about
and
You know,
household name.
what stuff I like watching now. Pretty much anything he does, I'm behind. The only one I've had a problem with is the Mayor of Youngstown, which my
I
wife
haven't
loves.
I haven't watched it yet, but I want to watch it.
My
I don't
wife
know.
really loves it. I'm kind of like, you know,
Hmm.
well, I don't know if I should tell you my complaint or not, but because I don't want to ruin it for you. But yeah, I
Okay.
just have a problem with the character development on that, as opposed to
Oh,
one of the things that Sheridan is so good at is developing characters.
yeah. A
I
scene
think
with
that's what
Sly.
it is.
A
Yeah,
scene with
I mean,
Sly in Tosake.
well, and if you look at even his movies, you know, Sicario,
Mm.
Wind River, you know, the Hell or High Water was the one that really knocked me out. I was like, oh my God, this
I
guy's a
love Sicario.
yeah, and the Sicarios. Of
Yeah, those like the installments.
course, the first one probably the best,
Mm.
but
But that's all.
mo-
That's always the case with these like installments.
well, not always, but yeah,
Well, not
certainly,
always,
certainly
but
in most
not
cases.
always, but like yeah,
Got to remember, you
most
can always remember The Godfather. So,
um.
but I think what made the first one so strong, and here again, I talked about Samuel L. Jackson
Mm,
being robbed of an Oscar nomination for Jungle Fever. I think Benicio del Toro should have gotten an Oscar nomination for supporting in the first Sicario, because his character, I mean, I went there because of Emily Blunt more than anything else, because
mm,
I just love her work. But he was, every time he was on the screen, he just commanded it. I mean, I was like, this is the best thing I had ever seen Benicio del Toro do. And he's done a lot of good stuff. And I was like, he didn't get nominated for an Oscar for that? What the hell is wrong with you people? It was, I think, the strongest thing I'd ever seen him do.
mm.
You know,
Yeah, the Oscars.
yeah.
I have a bone to pick with that. Like
Oh yeah, well,
they didn't can talk, see? They didn't nominate Babylon or the menu.
huh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to admit, I have not paid much attention to the Oscars in probably since the '90s. I just
Oh, okay.
got tired of it, and I was like, you know what, that it's almost predictable. And I think where I really lost it was when Titanic won all those Oscars. I mean, there were a lot better movies out that year than Titanic. You know, I mean, I
Mm,
know that's the one everybody loves to love, but I was like, to me, the best movie of that year was L.A. Confidential. Uh, but you had some other really strong movies there. Uh, I mean, Titanic, cinematically, it was very well done,
beautiful. Yeah.
but completely predictable story. Uh,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, besides the fact that you know that it sinks in the end, but I mean, the love story was like, you know what? I'm not really enamored with these characters. Uh, Whereas if you look at, I don't know if you ever saw As Good as It Gets, which deals with these three different, very different characters as they get together, I thought was brilliant. Uh, like I said, to me, that year, LA Confidential was the best movie of the year. And I was just like, all right, that's it. I'm tired of watching this. You know, you're going to give all the whiz bang stuff the Oscars.
Jack
Uh,
Nicholson was in As Good as It
yeah,
Gets.
he was one of the main characters. And Helen, what's her name? Helen Hunt, or not Helen
Helen
Hunt?
Hunt. Helen Hunt.
Helen Hunt. Yeah, Helen Hunt. And then Greg Kinnear, he knocked
Mm.
me out because I had, up until then, to me, he was just a comedian. And I watched him there. I was like, man, this guy can act. He is good. So
Oh,
yeah.
he was in my favorite movie of 2021, Crisis.
Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't see that one.
It's so good, you have to. Like it's
Yeah.
about the opioid
Okay.
epidemic, but
Yeah.
it's so good.
Yeah.
That like
Is it
there
like
are some
Traffic?
hmm?
Is it like Traffic at all? I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Have I seen it? Let me check.
Traffic.
Traffic.
the one with Don Cheadle and Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones. Who else is in that? Very good movie. It is a
Oh yeah, I have seen it, but nope.
yeah.
It's like,
It's not like that. Okay, because
but it's a
Traffic
lot
I
of
thought was
good
I really
traffic.
like Traffic mostly because of the acting more than anything
Yeah, this
else.
one is also good. Like the acting in Crisis is
So it's called
really
Crisis.
good.
All
Yeah, it is Crisis, and it's like very heavy, but
right. Mhm.
it's good. I have watched it so many times that I lost count.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Then I'll take a look
And
for that.
hold on, let me.
What's the movie I just saw, and in fact I just bought a copy because I loved it. Have you ever heard of Elevator to the Gallows? It's
Um,
a 1958 or 59 French murder mystery, and the French are great at putting together murder mysteries. I just love their stuff with that. But
oh, yeah, I have heard that about that
yeah,
movie.
but
I
I
suppose.
got into it because of Miles Davis is the guy who did the music in it. I'm just such a big Miles Davis fan. And then
Oh.
when I heard he had done the music and how he had done it, I was like, oh, I got to check this out. And I watched it, and it's here again, it's sort of film noir, but it's also new wave, even before new wave was a term. Because you think about it, new wave didn't really become out until what 60s or 70s. Here's this 1958 movie or 59 movie that was doing it. Um, but also just the lighting, the way he used mostly natural light, didn't use a lot of Klieg lights and stuff. Very interesting movie. So that's one I just watched. Not a new one, obviously, but new to me.
New to you.
But
Um, so um so what is your favorite genre to watch?
oh god, you know what? That's a tough one. I always say anything that's well done,
But
because I'm a
like the your definition of well done would would be something would be a bad choice, like a bad thing for me, like
yeah.
your definition might be a bad
Well,
done
that's true. But
for me. So
I mean,
I can you give
well,
me an
here again,
example?
I'm a writer first and foremost, so I've got to buy
Mm-hmm.
into the characters. I've got to have a good narrative arc, stuff like that.
Mm.
Uh, I'm trying to think what's a bad movie that might be used. Well, and here again, this is why I wasn't in love with Titanic. This is why
Mm.
I'm not in love with Saving Private Ryan, because I think, well, first of all, in Private Ryan, I didn't like. Remember, I said at the beginning, war movies are all seen from the point of view of the outsider. Now, in
Mm-hmm.
Private Ryan, the outsider is the radio man who gets thrown in with them, and the guy is a scumbag. I didn't like him. I was like, I don't want to identify with this guy. But the other thing to me on Private Ryan was that Spielberg got so caught up in the effects that he forgot to give a good story. So after that first
Mm.
20 minutes, that opening scene, it's like, I don't care about any of these people, and especially I don't even like the guy I'm supposed to identify with. So I've got no investment in this at all from a personal standpoint. Uh, Now to give you, all right, my favorite movie of all of them is Casablanca
Oh, okay. A
because those
classic.
characters, yeah, but the characters are so engaging. I mean, even the bad guys are interesting. Uh, but to me, Humphrey Bogart. And this is, I mean, Casablanca. There's so many things to love about it that it's almost an endless list. But here's the ultimate thing to me, and this is what I always say is that any male who watches that movie and doesn't want to be Humphrey Bogart afterwards is under suspicion for me because he is the coolest guy in the world in that movie. Jeez, I want to, and in fact, I even wrote a poem that's called "I Want to Be Rick Blaine." His character is so cool, just like even before James Bond was invented, this guy makes a dinner jacket and a drink look good. You know? So yeah, that's my idea of almost a perfect movie. And here again, the Godfather movies you could put up
Mm,
there. The Hell or High Water, I would put up. Chef, I think, is a great movie. I don't know if you've seen that one,
no,
uh, where the guy opens the food truck after he loses his job at the restaurant. um,
I don't.
but I don't know if you've ever seen Cinema Paradiso, the Italian movie,
Nope.
uh, which is another great one, where this it's just this kid or this man, this older man, is now recalling his childhood as he grew up, from about 10 years old up until about his 20s when he leaves this small town. And then he's come back to this town he grew up in as to for the funeral of this man who basically the idea of the story is his father had died in World War II. And so this one older guy in the town had sort of adopted him and raised him. And when the guy passes away, his mother calls him and says, "Hey, look, we're burying him tomorrow. You should be there." And so he comes back to the town for the funeral of this old man. And of course, sees how the town has changed in the intervening like 30 or 40 years that he's been gone, and just how the people, even though they've gotten older, they're pretty much the same. It's a very wonderful story. Uh, so to me, yeah, I think as a writer, the story has to really come first and foremost. But there are other elements. I mean, like if you look at Crazy Rich Asians,
Hmm.
uh, that's not a new story by any stretch. But what I
But
liked about
it's told differently.
not just that, but it's a beautiful movie to watch. The
Yeah.
way they use color, the way they use,
Hmm.
you know, I mean, just I was caught up in it not so much because of the story. Yeah, yeah, it's a different perspective, but it's look, the outsider coming in and trying to get accepted. That's an old
Hmm.
story. But the way it's presented was just very well done. I've watched that several times. I never get tired of watching it because of the beauty of it. Uh, you know, I'm trying to think of a bad movie. Like I say, I'm not in love with Titanic. Not that it's a bad movie, but it's not a great one. Uh, I,
Was there a movie which like you were so excited about and then it turned out to be a
oh
disappointment?
God, yes, yes, and it
Please
was
tell me that
Elizabeth.
that like enthusiasm.
The movie Elizabeth with Kate Blanchett. I was so amped for that movie and so let
Mm,
down. And I don't
mm.
know if you've seen it. Are you familiar with that one? The one she did on Queen Elizabeth?
Spencer?
No, Elizabeth.
Oh no, no, I haven't seen that one.
Okay, but it was Kate Blanchett plays Elizabeth.
Okay.
I mean, here's a woman who took over a country that was absolutely broke. She
Hmm.
takes it over as a female in a clearly male dominated time and turns it into the most powerful nation on earth. And what is the movie
That's
involved in?
inspiring.
Yeah, and yeah, it's a great story. And what's the movie involved in? Sex. I don't care about that. So what? People have idiots have sex. I don't need to see that.
Yeah.
I want to see. Yeah, so it really let me down. I was like,
Mm,
and I was the first. I said, man, when this opens, I gotta see it. I really want to see, because
mm,
Elizabeth is one of the most fascinating historical figures ever. And just, I was like, I came out of there going, oh man, that was such a bummer. And my wife, and of course, the other thing was it wasn't well written from a writing standpoint. Uh, my wife came out of there and she's asking me all these questions. I said, well, that's because they didn't provide transitions.
mm.
It was just, it jumped from one thing to another with no point of reference. I
Ugh, I
said,
hate those movies.
yeah, and Kate Blanchett is a good actress. There's no
Yeah,
reason. So
she
that's
she's
one
really
that
good.
really, yeah, that let me down. And the other one I would say was the movie version of Les Mis, but that's mostly because I'm a big fan of the musical. I have seen it 4 times on stage. It's one of my favorite stage, well, obviously one of my favorite stage productions. I've gone to it 4 times. Uh, yeah, I never get tired of seeing the show. And I was really psyched for the movie version, and it just wasn't up to what I hoped for. Uh, so those two kind of let me down. Uh, but yeah, those would be the two in my life that just, oh God, what am I doing here? This is killing me here. You're killing me, Swan. Um, but there's movies, I go into, like I say, another one I did not like at all. And here again, for various reasons, Dances with Wolves, I think, is very overrated. Uh, first of all, it's a ripoff of every John Ford Western that was ever done. Uh, it's the story of a white guy coming into the tribal life, the Native
Mm,
American life. It had already been done in 1970 in Soldier
yeah.
Blue, far better movie. um, so I was like, yeah. And then the other thing that kind of pissed me off was that it wins Best Picture in the same year that Goodfellas was out. I'm like, Goodfellas was far
What?
better. Yeah, those two
That's a
movies.
crime. That's a
Yeah,
crime.
really. I was like, I'm watching Goodfellas, and I'm like, Scorsese's doing stuff with a camera I'd never seen done before, and he doesn't get Best Picture. I was like, come on, give me a break. Now I have been somewhat vindicated over the years because if you look at movie ratings now, both
Mm,
L.A. Confidential
mm.
and Goodfellas are rated above Titanic and Dances with Wolves. So over time, people
That's
realize,
good.
yeah, no,
That's good.
yeah, these movies really weren't as great as we thought they
But
were.
like, wow, like that was a crime. Like, not
Yeah,
nominate. Like, what? Goodfellas? Are you kidding me?
no, it's one of the greatest movies ever made. I think certainly
Yeah.
one of Scorsese's best, and that's saying
Mm-hmm.
something that he's
So,
produced.
are you excited for the what's his name? The Killer of the Flower Moon?
I'm not familiar with that one.
That's
Uh,
Scorsese's newest movie.
oh, I'll have to look for that. I haven't seen that.
But it's not out yet. It will be
Yeah,
in
no,
October, November.
oh,
But
okay.
it has Leo in it, and
Oh,
the
okay.
whole
It's
Scorsese
funny
squad.
how Scorsese has gone from De Niro being his favorite actor to now DiCaprio being this
Yeah,
favorite, which is kind of cool.
exactly.
And I think
Um,
DiCaprio's good. In general, I
mm,
like him. He's done some stuff that I really don't care for, but uh, you know, uh,
we have to
it's funny.
switch.
The one movie I thought he was wrong for was Inception. That was my one flaw with
Ah,
Inception, and here's why. I thought he was too young for the part.
oh,
I think he
okay.
should have been. Now you mentioned like Robert Downey Jr. I think Robert Downey would have been better in that role than
Hmm.
DiCaprio was. And even though they're about the same age, I
Yeah,
was like, yeah, but no, he just looks too young for this
yeah. He
character.
had this like baby face.
Yeah, yeah.
I
And
remember.
what's interesting is that he goes from that and then he makes the J. Edgar movie with Clint Eastwood. And I
Hmm,
thought his best part in that was playing the older Hoover. I thought, man, he can convey old age, but he just
yeah,
didn't in that.
but he
That
like
was the only part of Inception I didn't care for. I was like, but everything else
everything else
was,
was
yeah, just
spectacular.
spot on. Yeah. I mean, Ken Watanabe was great in it. Joseph Gordon-Levitt was great in it.
Obviously.
Of course, the music to me was the star. Um, but because that was one of the things in that, I thought the music was almost like seeing a Wagner opera. Uh, but uh, but yeah, I think. But when I say anything well done, I can see a rom com. I can see a musical if it's well done. I mean, I love Chicago. I think that was done on film very well.
Hamlet? What
Mhm.
did you think of Hamlet?
Which one? The
the one with the
I like
new.
Mel Gibson's. I like Mel Gibson's better than Kenneth Branagh's. You talking about Hamlet? You talking about?
Yeah, Hamlet.
Yeah, I liked.
Not Hamlet. Excuse me, Hamilton.
Oh, Hamilton. I have not seen that yet. I haven't seen it.
Mm.
Uh, but I was thinking of Hamlet. But by the way, one of the best Hamlets around is the Hamlet 2000 with Ethan Hawke and Claire Danes. I don't know if you've
Oh,
ever
I
seen it.
love Ethan Hawke.
He does a very good job in that, and it's story very well done.
We have to switch to the link because it's
Oh,
time.
okay.
Or
So which one do I go to now? Let's see. Well, I'll figure it out.
okay.
All right.
Hold
So let me
on.